what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Street Circle Drive here on The Mesh. Thanks for coming back after what could be some questionable episodes. We're glad you're still with us. This is your Hickory Lovin' podcast here on themesh.tv.
I like that.
Thanks. That was a cover. Off the cuff. If you are interested in anything else on The Mesh, we really recommend you going over and checking out all of our other shows. We have some film review shows. We've got an all-girls show, a boys talking show. We've got some stuff about entrepreneurship, business, anything. All kinds of good stuff.
Did you say a boys talking show?
It is.
Yeah, it's a big fan.
Big fan.
Oh, so that's now we've gone away
Fans
from
of
just sport. Now it's just...
fans of Fantasy Formula will now enjoy the big fan because the big fan is now...
You're just confusing everybody. The thing is
I didn't know it was
Fantasy Formula.
boys talking show.
Well, it is.
Okay.
Fantasy Formula has now changed their name to Big Fan because now they talk about anything they're fans of.
Ah, now I get it. I knew they changed their name because I am
A loyal follower.
with the Mesh.
Okay.
I just didn't know that was the reason for the name change.
Still Chad and Hank.
I knew it was
And now
sports
they
related.
talk
That's why
about-
I didn't know it was...
It's not just sports there now. Now it's music,
Sure.
ladies, their children, concerts, all kinds of stuff.
I like it.
So yeah, it's fun. But that's what's going on now. But they
The
will be
Mesh.
getting into sports because of fantasy football season. So definitely go and check those out over at themesh.tv as well as Apple iTunes or anywhere else that you download your podcasts. We got a big show today.
Big show. Big fan of a big show.
How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Moose, welcome.
Perfect. Thank you.
McNally,
What up?
hello.
How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Great. So it is 1st of September-ish.
Ish.
Still hot.
Yes.
Blazes outside, ready for some fall. We'll get into some good fall events coming your way soon in the event section. But without further ado, Moose, tell us who we got here in the studio with us today.
Thank you, Mary Margaret.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. This is my radio voice. Do you like it?
Do it.
Great. Street Circle Drive podcast here on The Mesh. Would like to welcome Mr. Calvin Reyes from Henry Mill River.
Hello, welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. Calvin, with no further ado, I guess could you tell us just a little bit about the history of Henry River Mill Village?
Yeah, so we're a couple miles away, about 6 miles away from where we are right now, down at exit 119 on I-40, about a mile off the highway. There's this old mill village, which is basically a ghost town right now. It's been abandoned for about 30 to 40 years, mostly. I think the last resident officially moved out in 2000. But it started in 19... I know, isn't that crazy?
Really?
Yeah, especially when you come see it. It's mind-blowing.
Absolutely.
And so in 1905, it started as a cotton textile mill. They made fine cotton yarn. If you looked at it today, you'd call it thread, right? Tomato. And so they built this village there along with the mill, and they operated until about the early 70s. And the mill itself burned down in 1977, and it just remained in one parcel. And so you have this abandoned mill town of 20 remaining houses, all empty, no plumbing, no electricity, nothing, completely abandoned.
Because that's how they lived.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, they were nice when they lived there. They were painted white, beautiful, well taken care of. These were proud people. And then, of course, in 2011, Lionsgate Film decided that this matches the perfect dystopian feel that we're looking for the Hunger Games, and that became District 12. Jennifer Lawrence graced our property. We'll see if we can ever get her back again. But that's really where this place got recognized again, and people started visiting it and paying attention to it. And I was lucky enough to have parents that wanted to invest in a project with me, and we bought the place with the hopes to restore it and preserve it because it was just rotting away to Mother Nature. The grass was like 3 feet high, unmowed. Buildings just basically vandalized, people sleeping in them, breaking into them. We still have that problem today, which is why we don't allow people to go into the houses. And so, it's one of those things that you really got to have some vision when you go out there to see it. And that's why I do enjoy when we get our visitors, because I get to walk them through it. And I'd say 90% of the time they get it. The other 10% of the time they say we're crazy and we'll never understand it, but they still love it. So it's a fantastic place with a lot of neat history. Some fantastic nature too. When it comes to, we have 72 acres all surrounded by the Henry Fork River, so it's
Awesome.
peaceful. It's got great energy around it. Even though you're in an abandoned mill town, you feel like you're in the middle of the mountains, nowhere near I-40, but you're only a mile away.
So talk a little bit about your plans for the village in the upcoming years.
So, for us, the project as a whole is showing the importance of adaptive reuse. And so we have a lot of these old manufacturing buildings, villages, houses, etc. Really, that most people would probably look at this property and want to bulldoze it and say, look at this beautiful land we have. We can put a great development out here. Our plan is to show that adaptive reuse projects work. That if you think outside the box, there's a book that came out on the property put on by Red Hawk Publishing called We See What We Want to See. And it was basically, it came from some of the graffiti that was written on the walls inside one of the houses. And I think it just holds so true because when you look at this place, it really literally looks like it needs to be bulldozed. But to us, it's got great bones. I mean, it's got a great foundation. And so we want to turn it into a resort, basically, is the best way to describe it. I call it the cruise ship. You go on a cruise ship, you book excursions, right? You go explore during the day, you have things to do, and then you come back and you stay on site at the cruise ship. And so kind of the same idea there. We want to make it a bed and breakfast with the houses, let you stay on site, actually put plumbing in them so you'll be able to use a real bathroom.
Bravo.
Right? If you want the authentic experience, you can come now.
Yeah.
Right. If you're rustic, it's a great way to describe it.
Sounds better on a brochure, right? There you go.
Skip.
So we want to take the houses. We have 20 remaining of the original 35. So we want to restore those 20. One of them will end up being a museum through our nonprofit, which is the Henry River Preservation Fund. We have lots of artifacts and people still alive that were born and raised there that are telling stories, that have memorabilia from when they were growing up there. And we want to be able to display that and show the story. So we'll have the museum. We'll have overnight accommodations. We have a beautiful company store that was also the Malark Bakery and Hunger Games, probably the most iconic building on the property. Mm-hmm. We want to restore that for venue space. We have about a room upstairs for about 115 people. Downstairs, we want to have some kind of restaurant concept put in, so that way you have things to do. At that point, when the restoration's complete, we'll have 32 houses. We're going to rebuild 12 of them. We'll have room for about 110 plus people, give or take, if you bring your kids or not. And so eventually at that point we want to open up recreation on the river too and really make use of the soccer complex, which is like 4 miles away and has a beautiful canoe ramp. Well, it would be a great starting point for that. And so people can come now to Hickory and enjoy recreation. They can enjoy our wildlife and nature. They can enjoy our history. They can enjoy our food and cuisine and our entire culture. I mean, all in one little 72-acre plot.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
With something like that, obviously, I have not been out there I was actually working in Burke County when the Hunger Games were here, and I remember the tourists coming to our facility and just kind of showing up on your property. 72 acres is such a vast amount of property, and restoring. Is there kind of a phase process to this restaurant? Like, are you going to start with the food to kind of get more interest and knowledge and awareness? What kind of is that process of phasing it in? Because that would be a lot to bite off in one.
Yeah, so from a construction standpoint, we broke it out into 3 phases. The first phase includes 5 of the houses for overnight accommodation, so we'd have 10 rooms. Then, of course, the 6th house would be the museum, and that's all in phase 1, and then the shell of the company store. So just getting it to a point where the bricks, are sustainable because they're all unfired bricks, right? They're all basically sun-baked bricks, and if you don't seal them in and take care of them, they're going to eventually decay. Mm-hmm. And so there's things in getting the structure to a point where it's actually pretty again. Putting some windows back in it would be fantastic because vandals have broken all the windows. That's phase 1. Basically getting the concept going and proving that the model works, that we can actually take this village and these structures and make some money off of it to make it sustainable. From that point, we have 14 more houses we'll restore in phase 2. And then in phase 3, we'll build back 12 of them on top of the boarding house at that point, which there used to be a 12-bedroom boarding house, and we want to expand the Preservation Fund's footprint to allow a larger footprint for the museum. And so that whole boarding house will actually turn into a 2-story museum, which is a large structure and I think a proper and adequate space for them to be able to display all. We have a ton of artifacts, and even in house number 16, when we restore that, it'll be a fantastic museum space, but we're going to need even more than that.
Wow.
And so when it's all said and done, and I wish I had the plans to show you guys. It's hard to show the listeners, but it's really neat. I mean, it's something that will literally feel like you're in a village again, and it has life again, and people are walking around and enjoying it. And if things go our way and we develop the way we want, and eventually we'll have a Main Street feel also, so we can have a more interactive experience with festivals and a better layout for people to come in and just enjoy anything out there, whether it's from music to arts to just staying and enjoying the quiet, peaceful flowing of the river.
I'm sure there's got to be so many different challenges that you can't even start to describe here, but about just taking these existing buildings that were built in the mid 1800s, build them to accommodate 2018 expectations. That's got to be.
I think to quote a contractor I had a couple of weeks ago, they said that. Are you sure you don't want to just knock it down and rebuild it? We can build it exactly the same way it looks. And I said, can you do it in 24 hours was our response, because we can't do that. I mean, so there is challenges. I mean, both financially, it's probably double the price to restore it versus just rebuild it. And that includes demolition. So it's not... That's probably one of the biggest challenges you face as the developer in the restoration is making decisions that you need to get this thing developed and you need to get it open and operating, but you also want to protect the historical aspects of it, and that fine balance between the two is probably one of the biggest dilemmas that we face on an everyday basis.
Is it a registered historical landmark or anything? Because that could be a hindrance and has some opportunities.
We nominated. That's one of the very first things we knew we wanted to do when we bought the property, and we went ahead and nominated it to the National Register of Historic Places. We're still waiting in Raleigh for it to be approved. But our draft is in, so it's something that, regardless of how we were using the property, that was the very first thing we did.
What's your background? What got you interested in this, or your parents, or however? How'd you come across this and be like, yeah, that looks easy? I mean, that's.
Did you ever say that?
I'll totally take that on. Like, why?
That's why. So I tell people all the time that it's one of those things that when you're a kid, your parents say you can do anything you want to do if you put your mind to it. And for some reason, I always had that in the back of my head, and it never really stuck. I was like, okay, a cynic about it. But for some reason, this project called my name, and I was like, well, I got a dream, right? So let's see if we can build it. And I don't know. It's just been ever since.
What happened? Are you from here?
No, I'm originally from South Florida. I grew up in Coral Springs, Florida. Went to school at the University of Florida. Moved up here and married my wife from Granite Falls. She's my proxy, so that's how I became a Southerner.
We'll be the judge of that.
I've been hanging out in East Burke County enough where my accent's even changing. So.
Fair enough.
My background's not in development at all. I come from a sales background. I was actually a zoology major in college. Go figure. Did nothing with my college degree, right? And so,
unless you decide to turn one of the houses into a zoo, right? That would be amazing.
72 acres. There's chance. There's opportunity.
You can definitely do a preserve on 72 acres.
There's the land, yeah.
Well, that's kind of what we're doing. My mom refuses to cut a tree down, so.
Well.
Yeah.
You're going to have some animals then, yeah?
We definitely do. All kinds.
Yeah.
But my background's in sales. We have a sales training and consulting company that me and my mom have been running for about 10 years. The reason we came across this property, we were looking for acreage for us to move on to. I've always wanted acreage. Being a city boy, right? You want what you don't have. And so we looked for years, and we really couldn't find anything that was in our price range that made sense. Kind of gave up on the idea. And, on Realtor.com, you look for certain acreage, you get the same properties over and over and over again. So we were at the point of just giving up, and my mom called me and she's like, well, why don't we go look at this village property and just see what it's all about? And she wasn't with us when we went to go do it the first time with the real estate agent. And I remember they unscrewed the door. It was plywood had shut to the company store. They unscrewed it, and I walked in and I just looked up at the ceiling and I was like, done. Like, we need to buy this place. This is
really,
yeah. It was instantaneous, night and day from the site. I mean, you run through the Google Maps and you're on the street view over and over again. You're like, oh, this is neat. I need to go see this. And my wife's been out there and she told me all about it, and never actually ventured out until that point. And I picked up the phone, called her that second, and that was within 5 minutes of seeing it. We didn't see any of the houses or anything at that point. We couldn't even walk the property because it was so overgrown. And I was like, we need this. I don't care what it takes. This needs to happen. Called her on the phone, said you need to come see it. She came back flew in from work the next day. We went back out there to look at it, put an offer on it, and closed on October 6th of last year. So we're not even a year old. And really, I have to remind myself how far we've come in a year. Because, of course, you always want to be further ahead. But the amount of community support and attention this property's gotten, and how many people we've been able to connect with it and let them understand the history of it, and how important and how neat our area is to the state. I think we've gone leaps and bounds in just 10 months. I mean, I never would have thought last October we'd be where we are right now. And there's lots of things you learn along the way. I learn every day out there. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, and it seems like a very cool space for things to happen. I cannot confirm whether or not when I was in college at Lenore Ryan that there was a weird game of truth or dare that ended up at the Village.
I've heard this story.
But maybe you have.
Stories like it.
Yep, I believe so. But it's such a cool area, and I know now I've been following you on social media and the Mill Village and everything else. I've seen I love the ones where you're like, I gotta go cut this grass, and it's like you said, it's 3 feet high, and 6 hours later you post and you're like, I did like a square of it. I mean, it's like, but it's been cool to watch you put stuff out there, and really, I think it is appealing to the movers and shakers of this area that are wanting that growth and change and stuff. And now I know you're utilizing it for a lot of other stuff in the meantime, tours and stuff, right?
Yeah, so our nonprofit, we knew going into summer, and this is basically how we make decisions at Henry River, is basically what the environment's going to press us to do, and we have to adapt to it. And so after we got hit really, really hard on spring break, we all came together as a board at our nonprofit and realized that we were going to get hit really, really hard in the summer, and we didn't have any staff. We didn't have anything set up to take those people in and give them a right way to do things safely. And so that's when we said, okay, we're going to hire a tour guide and we're going to train them. And this was like in May, and I think we opened up at the end of May. And so really threw it together, bought a Connex container that was wired and turned it into a little like air-conditioned office for us to hang out in. And, most of the tour's walking, and I call it, you get a 2-for-1 deal, right? You get the historic tour, and then you get the Henry River workout plan with it. Because you got to walk up and down hill to go on the tour.
Yeah.
But that's really how that came about and why we started to do the tours. And it just took off. We've done over 570 tours in 15 weeks this summer. And I'd say over 90% of them are from out of a 30-minute drive of our property. If you came into our little gift shop office, area, we have 2 maps up there, and we let every visitor put a pin in the map from where they're from. And at this point, we have visitors from 41 different states. So we're only missing 9 states.
Come on, 9 states.
I know.
I'm sure they're all
Come on,
listening
Alaska.
right now.
Well, and Taylor, our site director, Taylor, would probably want me to name all 9, but I can't because I'm too busy mowing the grass.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm sure they're listening. So if you haven't been and you're from out of state, please come and visit.
It'd be fantastic. And, I'll be the guy on the zero turn that I learned zero turn mowers don't have brakes. And so I had to learn that the hard way. And so basically we might have some good sledding this winter if we get that rough winter the Almanac's calling for
That's
us.
what they're saying. That's what they're saying. I'll take some cold weather right now, that's for sure.
These the tours that the folks go on a scale of like 1 to real creepy, like what time of day, if you didn't want to get creeped out, what time of day do you need to go? Just like daybreak?
P.S. Moose is a scaredy cat.
I heard about this, actually. We might have something planned for you.
Boom, boom, boom.
Halloween, bam.
Oh, we're getting to this.
This guy
we're getting there.
volunteers.
You want to be one of the... I got a volunteer list with me. I can sign you up.
Oh, right on.
Well, the only tours there's 2 tours operating right now. The first one is through the Preservation Fund. It's the historic tours. They're an hour long. They operate at 10, 12, and 2 every single day. Those hours will change come October 1st. We'll be open Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Right now, we're open 7 days a week till the end of the month. So you can come out any day. Those 3 hours, it's daylight out. You don't have to worry about being scared. So sun doesn't go down until about 7:30,
this is
right?
getting good.
We will offer again next year some paranormal tours that are in the evening, probably right up your alley.
Seen anything?
I've been on them. People ask me all the time, is it haunted? I don't think so. I mean, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. But I will say, when I was on these tours, there's some stuff I cannot explain.
Yeah.
And I mean, even just thinking about it and And talking to the other people that were with us, still to this day, we can't figure out what it was. Is it a ghost? I don't know. I don't want to go around saying I've seen apparitions because I haven't. But there's some things
You can even just get in your own head, I'm sure.
Well,
when
that's
you're
what I
walking
mean,
on
right?
that
I mean,
tour.
it's pitch black. It's the entertainment
It's like
aspect
dark,
of
dark.
it.
It's real dark.
Yeah,
no
it's like
ambient light either. You're far enough away.
It's like middle of the desert dark, right? It's
Totally taking Moose there.
But those won't be until next year, so it'll be good to go. But the
Time to practice.
the other one that we do is the unofficial Hunger Games tours, fan tours, and they're out of Brevard area, and so they come every weekend on either Saturday or Sunday flip flops, and they do a 3.5 hour Hunger Games tour, reenactments of the movie. You get to dress up as Katniss, and you get to dress up like PETA and throw the bread off the front porch of the company store, and then you go play archery tag, which is hilarious. When we do our historic tours, and they have they're doing archery tag and they're wearing the masks and shooting each other. It's probably the most entertaining thing to watch when you're out there. But they have a blast. I mean, everyone has a good time on those. They're always laughing, and they give you lunch, and so that's a fun one. I think that one's like $40 for adults. The historic tours are $15, and all the proceeds from the historic tours go towards the museum and our trying to get our kids out there and teach them a little bit about the history and what we're doing at Henry River.
Awesome.
And just a little bit more background. Like, you guys aren't, and we talked a little bit about this off air, but like zero state funding right now. Like, this is your project. This is
So we do have the nonprofit, and we've had some phenomenal help from volunteers and donors and people coming out and buying merchandise. Like, all of that helps our nonprofit, which helps us keep the grass cut. Helps it keep it safe. Helps pay our site director to be out there to make sure that the public can always have access to the property. So that's where most of our funding comes from, to carry the property itself. I mean, that's just my family. And yeah, it's funny because you don't realize, and I never thought about it because I've never owned a project of this caliber, right, or been on board with one. And you start to see people talking, and it's funny how stories change and how many different things you hear. It almost becomes comedic. And
Game of telephone.
Right, it really is. But, I would love some state funding and county funding and city funding. It would be fantastic. But, it's something that I think comes with time and proving yourself and showing that this is something worth investing into.
Right, and I'm sure some of these, a lot of the funding, I'm sure, comes from different sort of events, such as the Booze and Brews that's coming up, right?
Oh, yeah. So we knew October, we owned the property last Halloween, so we had a terrible time with trespassers. And so, once again, when the property turns us a certain direction, we go with it. And so this year we decided we're going to give people a right way to do it and use it as a fundraiser. So we have our event called Booze and Brews, and we're
legal way to do it.
A legal way to do it, right? All right. If you don't have any warrants, you're okay.
That's right.
Just get away with
I got priors.
That's only because he's scared.
If Adam's listening, I'll let him know your name. So that's our security guy. And so Booze and Brews is a fundraiser for the Henry River Preservation Fund. It's $10 entry tickets to get in. What that gets you is into our historic flashlight trail, which goes into a little bit of the darker history that goes on in Mill Villages and in our area in general. Maybe give you a little bit of spooks along the way. I don't want to give away too much, but it opens up Dog Trot, which is one of our back roads that we don't open up this time of year just because wildlife and things like that. But come fall, and we have all the lights and everything, we'll open it up for people to go and walk it and experience it at night, which is phenomenal.
McNally's over here saying, "Oh, it's easy, Moose. You got this."
Just walking on a trail.
Yeah, okay.
But
With a flashlight,
for the people that don't want to experience that, we're working with the Greater Hickory JCs on this event, so they'll be running a beer. We call it a beer graveyard rather than a beer garden for this event, and so we'll have a bunch of fog machines, decor, and the best part about it is what goes best with Halloween, but 80s music. So we'll have a little 80s DJ dance party,
like Monster Mash and stuff.
Oh, everything. Monster Mash might be later than the 80s, but
nice. I mean, that song alone, you play that, right? You play that.
There may or may not be a Thriller flash mob. I don't know. You never know with these events what might happen.
Never know what's going to happen in things like this.
We'll have some food trucks out there.
Crazy kids.
We'll have First and Fright Paranormal, who ran all 5 of the paranormal tours we had. They'll be out there giving examples, telling stories of their findings when they were on site, so you can grab a beer and go listen to some real paranormal stories. Or you can go on the trail and experience that and learn a little bit of history along the way. But really, more than anything, it's giving people an opportunity to come out there and experience the property like they want to do, the ghost town that they want to experience for Halloween. We want them to do it the right way, and let's just raise money for a good cause, which is getting that museum built, because the faster we can get that museum built and get these artifacts on display. I have people that grew up in the village who all the time call me and say they want to give us stuff to put on display, and we just don't have the means to do it yet. And I would love to be able to offer that to the public, to come actually not just hear us tell the story about Henry River, but literally see that history in person and all the artifacts, and hear the stories from people telling them on video. And I mean, to me, that's what it's all about, is showing how important history is, adaptive reuse, and why we should continue to find new uses for these properties and these stories.
Well, I can understand whenever we purchased the building that you're in right now for this. This was, you're sitting where the oil pit was. This was an old car dealership. And so, this was one of the first Ford dealerships in North Carolina. And we still have people that have come by the building and said, gosh, I sat on my dad's lap as he bought our first car.
Isn't that great?
That type of stuff. And they've given us a couple of, different artifacts or a Ford memorabilia that they were handing out one day. The floors upstairs, we tried to have them buffed out, but we found out it was battery acid dropped in certain places on the original terrazzo floor. So we were like, keep it. We want to save it, so the floors and the ceiling are original upstairs. But it's really cool to have that involvement from people. And, honestly, you need to get that stuff taken care of. Like you say, get that museum, because these people aren't going to be around forever. And you need to...
And that's why everyone
get
needs
that in
to
there
come
while
to
you
Booze and
can.
Brews, right?
There you go, and get that museum built.
So we do offer some neat things to try to help raise even more money. With the Booze and Brews ticket, it's $10. You can buy it online now. They're for sale. So if you go to HenryRiverPreservation.com, you can't miss the link right when you get on the website to buy tickets. But we have two different packages. We have a VIP package, which gives you a glow-in-the-dark beer stein. So you can drink your beer while seeing it and not spilling it all over yourself.
From tavern to town. That's what we are.
And then if you go with the very VIP, which I highly suggest, which is
the very VIP. Of course you do.
The VVIP.
The VIP.
See? Look at that. It's sticking.
Yes.
So,
your plan's working.
So that one's $30, and you get our glow-in-the-dark Booze and Brews t-shirt. Typically the t-shirts will be sold for $20. The beer signs are $15. So you get all that you get an entry for $30 if you buy it ahead of time.
Not bad.
Perfect.
And it all raises
You're losing money
for a
if you
good
don't
cause.
get that.
Right,
The VVIP.
Yeah,
And Calvin, tell everybody again when that is.
So it's October 27th. It starts at 6 p.m. It goes until 11 p.m. that night at the Henry River Mill Village, which exit 119 on I-40. Just head south, and you will literally run into it. Almost everybody does every day. So.
Right.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for taking on this project. I mean,
yeah.
it's,
Right, yeah.
That's
it's great
really
to
cool.
hear your vision, the excitement.
You need to be calling.
You
need to be calling my wife and thanking her, because she's the one that has to put up with. I mean, it definitely changed our lives. It's something that you don't realize when you sign up for something of this scale, is how much everyone around you has to sacrifice. And that's something that, if you want to thank anybody, thank her, because she has to put up with me when I
Amen,
go
Calvin.
home.
You come back anytime you want, because we love to give props to the wives. Moose is getting ready to get married.
Oh.
He's engaged.
That's right.
McNally's wife's listening right now, because she's a loyal listener.
Loyal.
Yes. And I'm the only girl in the room, so we appreciate that you said that.
Well,
We'll give a shout out to your wife right now.
For sure.
Perfect.
Yes.
perfect. And my kids.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Which
Again,
my oldest calls it the haunted village. That's what he refers to it
Nice.
as since day one. I
See?
don't know why. Maybe I planted that seed.
You can go
You
hang
should
out with
dress
him.
him up
Moose.
in a little costume and have him run around spooking everybody.
That's where he wants to have his birthday party this year.
I love
awesome.
Which
it.
is fantastic.
I love it.
asked him this morning, and he said, "I want to go over there and I want to have the bounce houses." My fear is that when people drive by and see bounce houses, they're going to think this is like a party for everybody.
Right, yes.
Hey, you might be able to get the money back for the bounce house. Though.
Charge extra
Sure,
money
the insurance
if you're
company,
not there.
insurance company will love it. No,
Yeah.
not a problem there.
You guys have plans for other events in the future?
Yeah, so we definitely have our two large events. Millville Fest would be the other one we had back at the end of March of this year. We'll do that one again and to kick off the spring, because just as much as we're tired of the heat right now, we get really, really tired of
Yes.
the cold. And so that festival is to allow everybody. That one's free. And so we allow everybody to come out there and hear the history of it. We did a storytellers area, had food trucks, had the beer and wine. That one had a lot of craft vendors, so you're
Great.
able to buy things. But we'll do smaller events along the way as we build. We talked a little bit about our Christmas at the village last year. I was out of town, took my kids to Orlando to go to Disney, and all of a sudden I get an email from our volunteers saying, "Oh, we're going to do Santa Claus at the village." And, of course, I had a heart attack being a little bit of a control freak. So, I had a heart attack thinking about it. I'm out of town 600 miles away, and I can't do anything to help, but it went fantastic. And I know they want to do it again this year and
would be cool.
give the kids in the area an opportunity and a place to go meet Santa, because there really isn't anywhere around there. There's no mall. There's no department store or anything like that where you can do that. But any events that we do have, we'll announce. If there's smaller events, we'll announce on our social media. I try to let the paper know as much as I can and get that out there and let people hear it. But if you follow us on Facebook or go to our website, you can find out anything we have planned coming up through there.
That's awesome.
Sounds good. Thanks again for stopping
Absolutely,
by and
Calvin.
being a guest.
Hi, I'm Alan,
I'm Chris.
and we're the co-hosts of Foot Candle Films, a movie review and film discussion show here on themesh.tv.
Each episode, we talk about some new movies, cover some film news, and have some recommendations.
And trust us, we're just as likely to talk about the latest Jim Jarmusch film as we are the newest Transformers installment.
Hold on, don't get too crazy.
Well, okay, maybe not that bad. But you can find our show and all our episodes on themesh.tv. Plus, you can subscribe to get new episodes delivered right to your computer or mobile device.
We'll see you in the ticket line.
Mary Margaret's got some other events she wants to talk about.
I do, and hopefully Calvin will stick around for our rest of our show that McNally's going to take over in a minute with our famous restaurant reviews. So be sure to
Everybody's
hang on
favorite
for that and listen. Yes, but in the meantime, it's a big time coming up, Moose.
Huge.
Do you know what time it is?
Game time? Who?
It's bear time.
Oh, it is bear time.
Yes.
It is bear time.
God, you missed my
For the
cue on
0-1
that. Way to
Bears,
go.
right?
What's that?
The 0-1 Bears.
The 0-1 Bears, who
Mm-hmm.
took number 10, the country, West Alabama, to overtime last
To the
week.
wire,
right?
Yeah, I mean, not too shabby.
No, not overtime. They lost in
Regulation,
Last
but it
second.
was what, 38?
Yeah, like
12
4
seconds.
Something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was close.
Yes. So it is going to be the first home opener here for the Lenore Bears on September 15th. That is not this weekend, but next. Can't wait. 6 o'clock versus Mars Hill. So who's going?
Bears. I'm going to be there, of course.
I'm going to be there. Calvin, coming?
I mean, if we're all going together, let's
See?
do it.
Okay, there you go.
We
There you go.
tailgate.
I got a tailgating spot. So everybody come join. Bring your
Absolutely.
families, everything. It's a great time. I think people need, or hopefully will really embrace that. There was an interview recently with Coach Cronick who said that he really wants the Bears to be Hickory's team. And it really does feel like that when you go out there to the tailgate area. It's blocked off, it's fenced in, the kids can run around,
It is
and they don't
great
go
game
anywhere.
day.
It's a great game day feel for
families
this.
or anybody,
yeah.
but it's a great game day experience.
Whether you're alumni, fan or not, it's a good
right.
day. So definitely come on out and support the Bears. That's on September 15th at 6 o'clock.
Do you mind if I pause the event for 1 second?
By all means.
I'd like to bring up the Catawba Promise, the LR's Catawba Promise. And for those that aren't familiar with that, it was just announced this week that Lenore Ryan is putting it out there that any kid that is that lives in Catawba County that has a 3.5 GPA or higher gets to go to LR for half price.
Graduates
year.
from a Catawba County school.
Right.
Oh, it's only for the first year?
Right now, I believe.
Okay.
It
starts next fall.
Yeah,
It
so I
starts
think
next
it's
fall.
kicking off. I'm not quite sure the details of the length and all that
Right.
stuff. But
Stay
yes.
tuned. Stay tuned on that.
But yes, big deal.
Yeah, huge
big
deal.
deal. You can also be a transfer like CVCC or anything else. You can come from
Or
any of these schools.
institution.
It's
It's
LR
amazing.
investing in our community is what it is.
And it's
trying to keep the best kids here.
I think that's great. I think it's important, and bravo to Lenore Ryan.
Absolutely. Sorry for interrupting your events.
That's all right. I'll get back to my job. So moving on, we have the downtown art crawl. It's coming up. Anybody been to the art crawl before?
I have.
Mish, you have, yeah?
I have, yeah.
We've actually hosted artists here before, but it's exactly what it sounds like. Come downtown, walk around. There's like a little kickoff party you can go to if you'd like, but then there's maps throughout all the different stores that week, and you pick it up. You follow the trail to different stores, and there's artists that are in there. They will have stuff for purchase. Some of them will be doing live demonstrations, but also you'll be in a store, and you're there to look and enjoy. Restaurants have artists there, and it's a really good evening. A lot of people walking just around downtown, and it's a great time
Food
to
and drink?
explore. Most of the places will have snacks.
Have something.
Yep, you go in a place, they host like cheese and meatballs and crackers and grapes and stuff like that. A lot of places will have some wine and beer out for you to enjoy, music playing around, but
It's all on the individual sites. It's not
absolutely,
right.
yes. So it's individual places. You just walk around. It's, kid friendly. You know,
Right.
you can walk with your families and stuff. And it starts at 5:00 at Trade Alley Arts as the kickoff this year. And they do it twice a year, in May and in September. And in September they'll kick off in one place, and then in the other month they will kick off on the other side of downtown. So that way you're getting a mix up of that stuff. Anyway, it's a great time. Come out and enjoy a nice evening strolling around downtown. It is including over 60 artists.
Yeah.
So, and they say
Most
artists.
local too. Most all
Absolutely.
local.
When you say artists, I don't want you to think just painting or just
No.
drawing. We've had that wood carver.
Yeah, the woodworker
oh my
was
gosh,
fantastic.
it's amazing.
Yeah, pottery.
Again, live demonstrations, all that kinds of stuff. It's really cool. But this year, this art crawl is going to be a little different because the Convention and Visitor Center and the City of Hickory are hosting the North Carolina League of Municipalities at that time, which is a pretty big conference to come into the area. And so, Michael, who are those people? Like, what does that mean? That's like, what type of...
City, county managers,
Okay,
and probably some of their elected officials just
Okay.
to learn more about. But throughout the state.
Yeah,
so
so it's
all
a state worth of
sizes,
people.
all shapes and
Absolutely.
sizes.
So they're going to be hosting an event at the same time as the art crawl downtown. And they're calling it Rock the Block. It is the evening event that they've encouraged all the North Carolina League of Municipalities participants to come and enjoy that evening. Okay. So they're going to have Trial by Fire, which is a Journey cover band
Where is this?
downtown.
Oh.
Oh,
I'll be sure.
it's
there.
under the sails.
Oh, okay, great.
The band's playing under the sails.
Oh, okay.
And then they will have some other things happening according to that party. But that's kind of where they're trying to, when you go to a conference, they give you evening events to go do.
Sure.
And so this is their evening event, which
And it's on the
happens
same
to
day.
do with the art crawl, which I think is
So
fabulous.
downtown
Yeah,
could
for
be
sure.
hopping that night.
Downtown should be a really nice night. The concert's free. It's, hey, good time. The whole event's free. Just
Don't
walk
stop
around.
believing.
Don't stop.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I was waiting
You
for
gonna
it.
get up there and sing with them?
No.
No. Anyway, so that's again Thursday, September 20th. The kickoff's at 5:00. The art crawl goes through 8:00. The concert itself will be starting at 7:30. So go and enjoy a nice night downtown with all your friends and family. Saturday, September 22nd, that's the Saturday following the art crawl, another really cool event in Viewmont called the Viewmont Street Strut will be happening. It's one of my family's favorite events because they like to ride the trolley. There is a trolley that will go from different stations on 127 there in Viewmont, or North Center Street, excuse me, that will drop you off, pick you up, take you to the next store that you want to go to, or you can just get on the sidewalk and walk. And really just drop in at any of the stores in Viewmont and restaurants. They're all offering specials, discounts that day, sidewalk sales, all kinds of fun stuff. There's flower sales, there's furniture stores, all kinds of stuff. There will be food, drinks, kids' activities. It is rain or shine. And they have a whole bunch of information on their Facebook page if you go and check that out. And lastly, just to put it out there for the guys in the room, we always talk about when Moose does the events, we always got to hear about the Comic-Con and the wrestlers that are coming to the area. But
I'm sorry. I want to give the listeners what they want.
Well, you failed to mention that the Southeastern Doll Show is coming October 6th.
Oh, he knows when it
Does that
is.
include action
He knows
figures?
when it is.
Does that include action figures?
It's if G.I. Barbie counts.
How dare you.
Then yes.
Just because you call your dolls action figures does not mean that's what everybody else.
Listen at you. How dare you, McNally?
You've already bought your tickets, didn't you? It is October 6th at the Convention Center from 10 to 3. This is collectibles, kind of the creepy dolls, too, that you might find out there.
Like Chucky?
Like
China
those,
dolls and
like
Those
the
ones that look at you no matter where
Yes,
you go.
yes, those kind of things. As well, all the way down to like the collectors, Barbies, and then there's also repair stations where you can bring in antique dolls or anything else that you've had, and they'll do repairs on site, which I think is pretty cool.
Or Little Sister Mangling Barbies or whatever.
So, anyway, put that on
popped
your
off.
calendar.
Yeah.
That's all I got because those are some big ones. Those are good ones.
Those are good ones.
Right?
Those are good ones.
That's a big deal. I do a good job with events. You do too. We do. It is a team effort. That was awesome. Mine was easy
They'll
because
swipe.
of the stuff coming up.
That's right.
All right.
Food review time, so while people listen.
Darn right.
McNally, don't mess
Got a
with
good one this week.
Ongoing section of the show.
Please, by all means.
So this time we made it a family affair, and we went to, you talked about Moose getting married,
Yes.
the future in-law, the Wooden Spool Cafe, located inside the Furniture Mart.
Unique.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a double unique. It's unique that we have the Furniture Mart here for all those non-hickory nuts that don't know much about the Furniture Mart. 3 stories more. 3 stories. I don't even know how many thousands of square. All you can eat furniture.
That's one buffet you'll get into, right?
I'll go to the furniture buffet.
But inside, because there is so much furniture shopping to be had, a lot of people get hungry.
Yeah.
They need to have a cafe inside the Furniture Mart.
Replenish your
Love it when
energy.
a plan comes together.
Yes. So the Wooden Spool Cafe, Moose's future in-laws own and operate the Wooden Spool.
That is a correct statement.
And so Moose strong-armed us to go to the Wooden Spool to keep them happy, keep them in his good graces. But it was
Chuck's mean, man. He'll take care of
It
you.
was an excellent experience, I thought. I mean, Chuck was great. He came out and, like Mary Margaret and I do on a bi-weekly basis, gave Moose a hard time. So
Yeah.
that right there, I already gave it an extra star.
Yeah.
Sandwiches, soup, salads, burgers, melts. So just sitting here looking at the menu right now. Reuben's roast beef sandwich, BLTs, different paninis. Let's see what else.
You said
Caesar
the chicken
Greek
panini
salad.
is the big seller. The chicken
Well,
panini is the
and
big
so
one.
we asked him when
Yeah.
we went there, what is the big seller? And so he said chicken panini. So I went with the panini, and I got 2 sides. Just you want to give the people what they want.
You normally get one.
Well,
right?
No. I
was
got 2
considering
as well.
getting 2 meals, but I
No.
just went with 2 sides instead.
Yeah.
I am trying to cut back.
I understand. Yes,
Right?
we
I'm
know.
down 6 pounds, so I'm just
Bravo.
I got, 40,
Yeah.
44 to go.
We were.
How many?
No, I'm just saying.
44 to go.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's
I
right,
was-
Mel.
I was
quit
only
doing the podcast.
saying that as a information to the listener. You do get a side with your
Oh,
meal.
thank you. I thought you were not just talking about me.
I actually wasn't, but you brought that on yourself.
Yes,
so.
exactly. Yeah, so the meals do come with one side,
Mm-hmm.
and of course chips are an option. So I got the chicken panini, applewood smoked bacon, white cheddar, roasted red pepper, and fresh basil aioli.
Aioli.
Well, I'm just looking on my phone, and I'm not as young as I used to be.
That's the truth.
The sandwich was great. Chicken was a little dry, but totally the aioli, the red pepper, everything that was on it, didn't even notice that being the case. So it was very well done. I got the tomato bisque soup, and I think you did too.
I did.
I enjoyed it. Had the right amount of Parmesan cheese in it. It was delicious. And I got the twice baked potato salad, which was, I've had a lot of twice baked potato casseroles before. I've never necessarily had it as a pasta salad or
Which
a
are
potato salad.
fantastic casserole, and they're hot at
Yes.
that point.
So this is different being it labeled right away. It was awesome. It could have had a little bit more cheese, but that's just because
You
I love
like cheese. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a me thing or
But it was
overall.
cold.
It was cold and it
potato
was
salad.
great.
Okay.
House that. It was awesome. So I'll let everybody go through before I give my rankings, but I really enjoyed this. It's a spot that it's out of the way because you don't see it when you're driving down the road and think of food inside of the mart. So I'm glad we did this one, not only for Moose and Chuck and the fam, but it's part of what we want to do is places that you're not normally going to think of,
Yeah.
that you're going to drive by that are hickory centric and operated. So
Don't
really
get more
enjoyed it.
hickory than having a restaurant inside the
Inside
furniture
the
market.
furniture mart. That's a good point.
Really.
It's as
Yeah.
hickory as it comes.
That's awesome.
So what about you, Mary Margaret? What'd you get?
I started off with I as well got 2 sides. I did.
So it's not just me.
No,
Okay,
absolutely
that's fine.
not. I got 2 sides, and he brought one out as the appetizer, if you will. But I got that tomato soup too. I am literally drooling thinking about the soup.
I go back
The soup
with
was
that.
real good. You failed to mention what was in the soup.
The Christini thing. Oh, you go for it.
So there was a little,
That makes me want to go back right now.
Right. There's a little piece of bread that has melted cheese already on it, like somebody was making a grilled cheese sandwich,
like a little
right?
bruschetta without the
Yeah, but it's melted cheese, and then they dropped it on top of the soup.
Oops, happy accident.
Gosh, it was stinking amazing. So the soup was so good. I really, really encourage you to order that because that is the regular soup. That stays all the time. And then he says there is a switch out soup of the day type stuff.
Soup du jour.
A soup du jour, yes. And then I got the caprese sandwich. As we know from previous episodes, I'm not a huge sandwich fan, but this was pressed, so I felt like I would be pretty cool with it, and I do love anything caprese, so it was delicious. I ate it all. I licked my fingers afterwards, and
it looked pretty light and fresh for a sandwich.
It was.
Not heavy and.
Spinach was fresh. The basil stuff was fresh. The tomatoes were good and crunchy where they were supposed to be crunchy, and the sandwich was not too much bread, which is, as you know, a pet peeve of mine. And I also got a side of pineapples, which were huge chunks, not out of a can. Really good.
Fresh from Hawaii.
Fresh from
Chuck's Pineapple Farm.
Chuck's Pineapple Garden in Hawaii. Yes, in eastern North Carolina or something.
Maybe you inherit that.
Hey, is that why you're married?
Oh, for the
Getting the pineapple?
Yeah. The whole farm.
No, it was really good. Chuck took good care of us, came over. The interior looks really nice as well. He's done a nice job cleaning
Yeah,
that
up until real recent. Well, not recently, but probably a year ago or so.
Yeah.
That place needs some repairs, and they really stepped up and did it. The kitchen there is enormous. It doesn't look like it, but it's about the same size as
Nice.
the restaurant. Like I said, it's enormous. But
Well, the soup, I couldn't tell. Was he telling the truth? Is that really it was homemade?
oh
right?
yeah, he makes everything.
The soup is homemade. The pimento cheese he recommended, that's homemade.
Homemade.
The chicken salad,
Homemade.
egg salad was the special that day. They do have a special, one special sandwich a day each
Yeah.
day of the week. So
Yeah, for
Your
sure.
turn, Moose.
My turn.
you got to say something nice.
Right?
as you're
No,
married.
of course.
Best meal you ever had.
Right. Well, I'm lucky enough to have Chuck cook for me all the time, so I know his capabilities, and it was also why the shape I'm in. A lot of it is. So I went off menu. I got just asked Chuck he knew what I liked. I like chicken. I like vegetables, and I like sandwiches. So I was like, go ahead and just whip me up something. And he brought out a chicken panini pressed wrap. And it had squash and zucchini and
Pimento
oil and
cheese,
vinegar dressing. Did not have pimento cheese on it.
That's right.
Thanks for taking my order wrong, Chuck.
You asked for it. Just saying.
Right, I did. It's fine. I ate it.
And you didn't.
I've gotta
complain.
give Chuck-
And you didn't complain.
No, I
No.
did not. Never once. Had the same pineapple from Chuck's farm that Mary Margaret had. It was great. It tastes just like he just picked it off the bush. It was fantastic.
They grow in a bush?
I think pineapples grow on bushes. If there was the only way we could figure this out. So I think they do grow on trees. Pineapple tree. I've heard that before. McNally's working on this.
Really?
Research team on
You
it.
keep talking, he'll
Okay,
find it out.
so I also had the pasta, which is...
See, we all went two sides.
Yeah, we all went two sides.
Went two side deep.
Yeah. I will say, if you go when they have egg salad, it's the best. It's the best egg salad you'll ever have. I was kind of mad at myself when I left because it was egg salad day and I didn't get the egg salad. So, McNally, if you were to rate the said Wooden Spool, what would you say you would rank it in your ranking system?
I'd give it 8 out of 10. I liked it because you could go there and meet with folks. It's not overrun. Like you said, they really did a nice... I mean, for being a relatively small spot inside the Furniture Mart, it looks really nice, and you don't feel like you're in the Furniture Mart, per se, when you're there. I really enjoyed it. Fabulous company and food.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm
Suck it
Sucking
up.
up
You
to
already
you
got
guys.
the job. You're already here.
Yeah, I mean, if not, what are you going to do? Cut my pay?
Right? I would give it I think I'll give it a 8.5 out of 10 for sure. I think it was real nice. I really enjoyed the food. I would like to try some other stuff, especially all of his homemade stuff. And the atmosphere is nice. I really, really enjoyed it.
7 out of 7. I love you, Chuck. It was real good. For sure. Hospitality. The price was great. And if you go, the sandwiches, they're all real reasonable. Everything's
Absolutely.
under $6, $7, $8. You can get out of there under $10 and be super full. So it's I would 10 out of 10 eat there again. So
Yes.
Because you will.
because I will.
Because you
and I
got
have
to.
Pineapples don't grow on trees.
What do
They
they
grow
grow?
out of the ground from a leafy plant.
It's a bush. I told
No.
you it's
And
a bush.
They're seedless, so when you... Let me see. What did I say?
Wait,
when
they grow on
removed,
a
the
bush?
crown of the pineapple fruit contains small roots. If it's planted into the ground or a pot, a new fruit-producing plant will grow.
Wait, so does it grow a bush or is it like a carrot?
Bush.
No,
Oh.
bush.
Oh,
Pineapple bush.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe the
Does that
internet.
change your view on
I don't know.
pineapples now?
I don't know if I believe the internet on that.
Livescience.com.
I mean,
Say
well,
that again.
there you go.
Wikipedia.
There you go.
Awesome.
Calvin, have we given you a good review, enough of the Wooden Spool that you would try it out?
I think I'll be going.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, you will.
Let us know.
I definitely need to find a babysitter though, because I want to enjoy it without the 3 kids. I think it sounds like it'd be more fun to get
Well-
just me and the wife.
You know, I'm sure it would. However, the food's totally appropriate for children too, which we always do kind of talk about because they had burgers on there and
Has
stuff.
grilled
You know,
cheese.
Oh yeah, it'll
Yeah.
keep
He's
them
not
in there.
naked.
And
As long as
they
they got grilled cheese, right?
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah.
I'd love to point out
They had a
he
4
will.
grilled cheese sandwich, I think.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yes.
And Chuck is the type that if you don't see anything on the menu that you like, and you see
Ask him.
5 different things on the menu that contain the things that you would like him to put together, he will put it together for you, and it will be delicious.
Well, we'll definitely be trying it.
So yeah, it's definitely worth it, and hopefully good for the furniture mart as well. Because as McNally said, we're so lucky to have that in this community, and so we encourage everyone to go check it out
For sure.
and put some money into Moose's dowry.
Yeah. More than the 2 cows I'm already
goat
getting.
and a pineapple farm.
Hey,
Yes.
yes, pineapple bush. So thank you everyone for being here today. Calvin, thank you so much for being here, and hopefully we'll have you back whenever we've got all kinds of new stuff to talk about that's happening over at the village. I think that what you guys are doing is amazing. So
Thank you
congrats.
very much. Well,
Absolutely.
Come out and see us.
Definitely.
I'd love to have
Absolutely.
you.
Definitely. All right. So again, this is Street Circle Drive. We wanted to drop you a quick hint that there is a good festival coming up. We've talked about the last couple episodes, but the Foot Candle Film Festival is almost here, September 28th through 30th at the Salt Block. Our friends over at the Foot Candle Films review show here on the Mesh put on a good time. There's 36 films, I think.
Yeah, I think 37 and
Maybe
something
30
like that. 6
yeah.
awards.
6 awards that are handed out, major awards on a Sunday evening, plus some evening events that go on throughout the weekend. Just a really nice time, something special that Hickory has and has been growing for a while now. We'll be out there. We'll be looking for you. Hopefully you'll stop by and say hello. But again, that's the 28th through 30th. You can go to footcandlefilmfestival.com to purchase tickets for the entire weekend or for individual films that you want to come and check out. All right. Anything else you guys can think of we need to grace everyone with?
I think we've graced
I
it
think
up.
we've done a really darn good job, if we do say
Way to
so
go, team.
ourselves. Right. We're getting pretty good at this, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
If not, I hope all 5 of you like it.
Absolutely. Hootie, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you on themesh.tv and Apple iTunes. Say goodbye, boys.
Goodbye, boys.
Later on, Hickory Nuts.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.